Hello, everybody. I'm hoping that I have gone live. I'm going to do a quick check to make sure that I am actually going live. 2 seconds. There should hopefully be some sort of weird delay, and then I will arrive. Looks like awesome. It is. It is happening, which is always good. So, hello, everybody. I hope you're well. I can see somebody's watching. So, whoever's jumping on, if you are on the replay, just let me know in the comments so I can see who I'm speaking to. So today you are getting a weird peek of Jen in bed because my office is an absolute tip, and I'll tell you why. Because I have been sleeping alone, and no, not because we've had an argument. As you can tell, I'm still recovering from the most horrendous cough I've ever had, and so he's been sleeping upstairs in my office, and I've gone up there today, and it's an absolute tip. So I've literally just gone, I really can't be bothered to clear you up. I'm still not feeling well, so I have come to the sanctuary of my room to work, and it's actually been really, really nice, very, very comfortable, and such an easy way to start on Monday. So yeah, I'm quite oddly, I might just maybe just work from here from now on. Although I've been told that's bad. You mustn't work where you sleep apparently because it does something to the brain. Holly, hello, my lovely Nikki, hello. I'm so pleased to see you guys here. Now today I'm here to talk about quite a controversial topic, because the thing is I've this was a couple of weeks ago, so this is probably the first time I've probably properly turned up and sort of said hi to everybody. And I went to Linda, hello lovely. I've been to obviously the women's business club, their Maximise conference. Thank you. I just want to say thank you in person to every single person who voted for me. I won 2 years in a row. I am so proud. Thank you so much. And Linda won Dragoness's Den, and you won something else as well, Linda. I knew you won two prizes. The Dragoness's Den was one of the most um, you know, the one that I can think of the most, but there was another one. So congratulations to Linda, who won two awards. And there were so many fantastic awards given out that evening. But I'm super proud of mine, super proud of Linda, because yeah, it was just a wonderful day. And then I went to Dan Meredith's event on Saturday in Brighton, which was huge and amazing, but I also think contributed to how downhill I went after my lurgy. And if from that point onwards, from that Saturday, I had seriously wanted just to jump live on the streets of Brighton, but I was carrying a holdall which was making horrible noise. So I was like, "There's no way anyone's going to hear me with that racket going on the background." So and then I fell out ill. So this has been brewing for so long, guys. It's unbelievable. That I've wanted to come on and talk to you about this topic, about integrity. Now, as most of you should know, or do know, or if you don't, here you go. Integrity is like the one of the biggest values I hold, and so I want to make that very clear from the beginning before we start. In terms of this is so important to me. Integrity is so important to me, and I even received a lovely Voxer message from one of my clients a couple of days ago, just before the weekend, and it actually made my year. And she was saying that she'd been disillusioned by a lot of coaches, and how she'd invested in a lot and in a fair few, and she just said, "Thank you so much, your integrity and the promises that you give and you keep, and how you work with me." And she said, "Just thank you so much for kind of almost like reinstating my faith in coaches." And it genuinely made my day, and I was like, "Oh my god, thank you so much," because I really do highly I hold that value in high regard. Teresa and Heather, hello, my lovelies. Thank you so much for joining. And so I really want to introduce this live from that perspective, that integrity is very important to me. I value it very highly, and I don't believe in people going out there to make a quick buck. However, I want to talk about the uglier side of this. And what happens when we see a lot of people that we respect. I don't want to use the word bang on, but I'm going to bang on about integrity and how important it is, and how important it is to stay in your lane, and how important it is to make sure that doing what you're meant to be doing in terms of your expertise. Merelda, hello, my love. Hello, hello, hello. Just before I continue, congratulations on your speaking gig for 2018. How exciting is that? Um, so yeah, that we do, you know, when particularly coaches, when they get to a particular level and they get super confident, we're all up here talking about integrity and how important it is and stay in your lane. And what happens is, for those of us who are feeling perhaps less than or are struggling with um, feeling confident in our abilities, is that sometimes it can make us feel uneasy, like we're not within integrity, particularly when this is coming from people that we respect, from people that we truly value and perhaps are following, and suddenly we start to put them on a pedestal and we put ourselves below. And this happened to me probably about a year ago now, where I saw, you know, all these people who I loved, respected, talking about integrity, and I just wanted to talk openly and honestly about how that made me feel and how I know that it makes many of you feel, because I think it's important to talk about this openly for those of you who feel unconfident and who perhaps hear these words and start to feel less than and start to feel like, well, maybe I don't know my stuff, because that is what sometimes starts to happen. And actually, what happens with this message of integrity, sometimes it goes out there, and the right people who should be hearing it tends not to hear it really fully, and the people who are extra sensitive to these messages overly hear it and shrink back. And then we start to wonder, well, am I really teaching what I'm meant to be teaching? Do I really know what I say that I know? Am I really the expert? Is this really something that I can truly be saying that I can help with? And we start to second guess everything that we do. So I wanted to just say that out loud. And, you know, and I'm not expecting, if anybody does resonate with this and you feel brave enough, then let me know. Let me know in the comments. But I don't expect a ton of people to suddenly put their hands up and say, yes, Jen, that's totally me. I feel completely unconfident in my abilities. But sometimes it does happen. And Heather said integrity is important, period. Absolutely, 100%. But I just want to really call out what can go on in people's minds. And so, yeah, let me know if you are feeling brave enough to really sort of verbalize that, because you're not alone. Merelda said, oh yes, had a whole year of doubt and second guessing. And do you know what, Merelda? You would be the last person, and this, I'm so pleased that you've come out and said this, because Merelda is highly knowledgeable. She plows enormous amounts of money, time, and energy into her own education, into learning, into doing, into implementing, into taking action. And she would be the last person that I would have expected to come on here and say, yes, I had a whole year of dance second guessing. And this is proof that, unfortunately, we can be oversensitive to what others are saying because we really take it on board, because we're nice people and because we want to do the best by our clients and because we want to make sure that we're giving true value and that we want to make sure that we're doing the best by other people. And because of that, we can those messages can go straight to the heart and they can really shake our confidence. And so I so appreciate you, Merelda, coming on here and actually just saying, yes, that was me, because honestly, I would not have guessed that that would have been you. And I'm sure a lot of people would look at me and go, I never remember you second guessing yourself, Jan. But genuinely, I did. For so long, I second guessed what I was doing. I had a huge sense of comparisonitis coming through, looking at what everybody else is doing and going, oh, am I as good as that? You know, or they're disagreeing with my point of view, not necessarily directly, but they put something out there that doesn't necessarily fit with my way of thinking, or perhaps it's a different perspective and you're second guessing what you've been saying for 6 months or something like that. Those are the kinds of things that were going on for me and that made me really feel less than, and I started to shrink back. And it took courage, and those of you who know me well know that courage is super important to me as well, just as important as integrity. And so I would have this constant battle of, okay, stay in alignment, have courage, and really stand for what you believe in. And I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. As long as you are doing your damned best to learn and develop, and actually committing to time within your day, not just your week, but within daily development. I think that's really, really important, and it's key. It's something that I always look to do. I never just work in my business, never ever. I always spend time at some period during the day working on my business. And that also means working on me and making sure that I'm doing everything I can to be the best at what I do. And at that little chop that you do every single day, and I talk about a chop because it's something that Jack Canfield talks about in his Success Principles book, about taking that axe and taking a chop at the tree every single day, and eventually that tree will fall. And that is exactly how you achieve goals, but it's also exactly how you become the expert, by taking that small chop, because you've got to start somewhere. And this is my message for those of you who start to feel less than, is that you've got to begin somewhere. And you know what? Every expert started where they were, and that was, in all honesty, in utter crap, right? Well, they at least felt that way. They felt like what they had to offer was second rate, but they knew that if they honed their skills, if they made a decision, because that is where an expert begins, it begins with a decision to be an expert in something. So by making that decision, honing in your skills, and really making sure that you spend time every single day doing that, you know that you are going to be great. You are going to be amazing. And you can be amazing and you can learn things in very short periods of time. When you really focus and hone in, it doesn't take long to become that expert, but you've got to commit to the development. So make that commitment, that daily commitment, to know that you are working on yourself every single day to be the best that you can be in the role that you've chosen. So that's the first thing. And if you're doing that, then that's a promise that you've made to both yourself and your clients, and something that you can hold your head up high and say, I am doing the best I can. You will also know that if you are more of a beginner at what you're doing, that you will obviously be priced appropriately. And that's also another very controversial thing to say, because there are a lot of coaches out there who talk about charge your worth, earn your worth, make sure that you're not undercharging yourself. And actually, my message is, you've got to be comfortable with your pricing, and it needs to be appropriately priced, not for what it is, because I truly believe that you can earn money in whatever it is that you do, whatever niche that you pick. It's not market particular, but it is level particular. So there is something to be said about finding that middle ground and owning your worth, and knowing, how long you've been doing it for. Is it a beta program? Is it something that needs to be priced a little bit lower than what you will be? What you must never be afraid of doing is upping your prices, as you do own your worth and your value, and building it up slowly. And again, I need to remember to do this. I did an amazing live in Paddington Station on leveling up and how you've got to start where you are. And so I'll make sure I'll share that with you. And I'm sorry I haven't done so far. I've got a bit sidetracked with the lurgy. But I find that so important, about starting where you are, pricing yourself appropriately, and knowing what you've got, really knowing that value. And there will always be more to do. And this is the other thing, no matter how much you know your value, there will always be more learning. You will always be able to do better. And so that process will never change. You will never get somewhere and go, well, I know everything, because the landscape changes, our environment changes, and what we once knew no longer fits. And so it's always going to be a case of learning and developing and making mistakes, and knowing that that's okay, and owning up to them, and just being real, being transparent with people, because that's the most important thing. And knowing that you only need to be ahead of your client by 1 or 2 steps. You don't have to be miles ahead, because if you are miles ahead, it's likely that your ideal client will change, because as we develop, so does our ideal client. And so we move up and up and up and up, and eventually we'll start serving those first ideal clients very differently to how we used to serve them, if that makes sense. And so just know that as long as you are staying in your lane, as long as you are being particular and you're making a decision and saying, this is what I'm going to be an expert in, this is what I'm deciding to do, this is what I'm going to hone my skills in and commit to learning and developing in every single day, even if it's 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is that you can commit to each day, that the learning and developing and honing in on the skill that you are really becoming an expert in, you will be absolutely fine. You are within integrity because you've made that promise, you've made that commitment, and you're taking daily action to hone it in. And you're ensuring that you are working with people who you are qualified to work with. It's the jack of all trades. It's the people that go out there and say that, I can help you with anything you like. Well, no, that's impossible. You can't help people with anything that they like, because there's no way that you could be an expert in everything. Which is why it's so important to hone in, why it's so important to be specific, why it's so important to focus in on what it is that you truly want to become a master of, at what level. And so decide, focus in, commit to that learning and development, stay in your lane, and own what you know at your level, because you do have something to help somebody. I've been helping people for the last 2 years, and I know so much more than I did when I first began. But yet, those first clients will still testify that they had incredible value from me, and it got them. And as I grew, they grew. I took those people with me from where I was, and I've been sharing my journey with those people. And so they've been able to grow with me. They never look back and think, well, I got second class information, because it was always relevant to that part of their journey. And I've been able to take them further than they could have been. You cannot transform within that time frame. So for instance, it's taken me 2 years to get to where I've got to, and that has been a rapid, successful transformation. And it's not something that could have happened in any shorter time period. So you have to understand that time plays a part in this, and you cannot ignore time from this situation. It takes time for things to come in and to sink in and to be repeated, and for you to get good at what it is that you're doing. And so remember what you're really good at this time, and that might not be where you want to be, but it is where you're at, and it is valuable, and it can help those clients that you want it to help. And I hope I'm not talking in riddles here, and that it is making sense to you. But my point is, don't let all of this talk of integrity make you shrink back. Don't let all of this talk of integrity make you second guess what you know. You know what you know, and you know that it's helped you thus far, and you know that it's already helped people, and that it will continue to help people. And the more you learn and the more you develop, the further you will go in your journey, and the more you will evolve. But don't forget that everybody's got to start where they are, and that you are truly valuable wherever that is. And just please do know that. Linda says, great advice. I'm so glad. Linda also says, my biggest stumbling block at the moment is pricing. It can be a funny one, but just know that you've got to be comfortable with it. Do some work with somebody else to help you look and own that value, because sometimes it takes other people to look at what we do and help us truly see that. And I'm sorry to say it, to a certain extent, we should all be able to validate ourselves or give ourselves permission. But do you know what it really helps is talking it out with somebody and helping them to help you give yourself that permission, because doing it on our own can be very hard. So find somebody to help you give yourself that permission to charge what you're worth, and know that whatever that is, because I'm also aware that you are starting out. Know that whatever it is that you start with won't be the end price, and that you will help raise those prices. Heather says, I always second guess when I'm getting ready to do something new. Absolutely. And it's always really scary, isn't it, Heather? And I have been there myself. And I think that's why I'm a massive fan of beta pricing, because it helps us be comfortable with it in the first instance. And when we've been through it that first time round, we know that we've given room, we've priced it appropriately to give it room to get things tightened up. It's not going to be squeaky clean the first time round. It never is. Just like some advice I gave someone earlier who said, what do I do when I'm going live for the first time, in my group? Call it out. Don't pretend that it is squeaky clean. Be honest about the fact that it's the first time. Then it makes us feel more comfortable. Manage people's expectations, price it appropriately, and you will feel within integrity and they will feel within integrity. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying there, Heather. And I think I've just lost the rest. Let's see if it will show you the rest of these comments. I'm hoping it's not gonna see if it's got it. No, the comments have disappeared. Let's see. Yep, they've gone. Miranda says, I think it happens when you don't have a success story or two under your belt. So I've managed to catch that one. Now, Miranda, that's a really interesting point that you've just made. And I think, again, that comes from simply refusing to acknowledge our success. We find it a lot easier to look back when we get to a certain level and say, oh my goodness, look at all of these successes that I've had. At the time, why is it that we find it so hard to really look at what's going on at the moment, or just gone, to say that we've made a success? And the thing is, we place that success so highly, we set the bar so high, that we find it hard to relate to those things as a success. And that's what we need to reframe, is to actually look at where we've been, to look at it from the perspective of they were successes because they got us to where we were, and also reframing our failures as success stories. If you go onto my LinkedIn profile, you'll notice that part of my education is a school of failed businesses, because that is how I have become the expert in what I do, because I've got all of my failed businesses to analyze and go, oh, well, that's why it didn't work out, or that's what the problem was, or this is what I didn't do right. That has created the expert that is me. That's what's created my success, because I know what not to do. And so it's about reframing our story to show that actually it doesn't matter what we've done, what we've been through, it's got us to where we are. And also looking at, because Merelda, I know you've put a lot into your own education again, like that's a success. You've gone through this. Look at you and yourself. Look at what you've done. And I'm talking to Merelda and everybody here. Look at what you've done and realize where you've got to, and the mind shifts that you've made, and the actions that you've implemented, the habits that you've created, and realize that you are a success. Perhaps you may not have had a ton of clients under your belt yet, but that is nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with how you're marketing yourself. And that's all that it is. And this is something I've had to learn when I've had flops in the past, is that when you attach your self-worth to the number of people that you get on a program, or to the price in which the amount of money that you pull in, or the amount of people that you've actually worked with or who approach you, when you do that, you will always be disappointed, because it's never going to be enough, and we're always going to be raising the bar for ourselves. Just because someone doesn't buy our services, it doesn't make those services any less valuable. And that's what we have to remember. It is key to helping us feel empowered and to help us own our worth. Because just because someone hasn't bought from you yet doesn't mean that what you do have isn't truly valuable. And I'm not just talking to people who are starting up here. I'm talking to people who've been in business for ages, who are creating new products, who are maybe going through a little lull, who are going through a dip. It's everything to do with perhaps the outer environment of what other people are going through. You cannot you cannot help certain circumstances for other people, and you also have to remember that that there's possibly a marketing piece going on here that's missing, the language in which you're talking to your clients. Again, that's got nothing to do with what your skill and your expertise, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the marketing, which is easily solvable. So don't ever attach your worth and your value and your expertise with what's going on for you. And for those of you who are listening to this and saying, that's all very well, Jan, but I'm meant to be a marketing expert in this particular thing, and marketing is such a broad term, and know that it may not just be marketing, it also could be your mindset. And just because we're great at helping other people, it does not mean we are great at helping ourselves. And so it's really important to forgive yourself for that just because, other people, aren't coming to you, even if you are a marketing expert, it may have something to do with a lot of other different things. And that, just because we're great at it for other people doesn't mean we're so great for ourselves, which is why it's important to get help, guys. Get help. Having a coach really does change everything for you. Like I just said to Linda, she said, huge encouragement, thank you. Seriously, when you find somebody that's in your corner that can help you own that value, own that worth, and give you that massive kick up the bum that you really truly need, because we can't get there on our own. We have to have support. And this isn't a like a I don't know, a backhanded thing of, buy from me. I don't care who you buy from. I think it's important to get a coach or a mentor or a consultant or somebody who is in your corner to help you own your value and to really get you to where you need to be. And I'm all for it. If you're at that point where you're like, you know what, I can't afford, genuinely can't afford to buy someone, then go out there and find someone for free. But I will say there is a difference between the level of support you will get from free support and paid support. The shifts you make when you pay for something is just incredible. And so yeah, that's just the message. Not that I want to leave you on, but I want to give you today. The message I do want to leave you on is know when to listen to those messages of integrity. Hold integrity with absolute value, but don't mistake your unconfidence with a lack of integrity, because there are two very, very different things. That's the message that I really want to leave you on today. So thank you so much for listening to me in the weird lighting of my bedroom. Sorry, it's not been as tightened up or professional as it normally is. But hey, do you know what? Something I've realised over the last month is that I have been really struggling due to personal issues to actually um, go out there and say, guys, this is when I'm going to be live for the next however long. And because I haven't been able to say that, I found it very hard to show up, because I felt like, well, if I'm not telling you guys when I'm showing up, then there's no point showing up, which is total bull and something I'm calling bullshit on right now, because that is not true. And I'm sorry that I've been away for so long. But that's it now. If I can't tell you when I'm going to go live, I'm just going to go live. You guys can catch a replay. Obviously, we all know it's better when I let you know. But if I can't, I'm not going to let that stop me in the future. So here we go. There's a confession, an apology, and an accountability statement to say no more not showing up. I'm going to show up when I can show up, even if it's from the bedroom. This is what's going to happen, because I've got important messages to share with you guys, and they are being delayed and they're going under the radar because I am basically being a perfectionist. I never thought I'd use that word for me. I never thought that I would use the word perfectionist with me, but I realised recently that I really am. If I can't do it perfect, then I'm not going to do it, and that just can't happen. When life is imperfect, we have to embrace it. And so this is me embracing my imperfection and saying that, do you know what? Over the next couple of weeks, particularly with Christmas going on and whatever else, and my life happening and whatever else going on, I may not be able to tell you, but you can be damn sure that I'm going to find time to come up and show up and spread the messages that I've got to spread, because I think they're important, and I don't want to leave the world and you guys without them. And that's for me is really important, because I'm very passionate about what I do. And I'm here on my page because it's not just about being visible and showing my value and whatever else to get clients. I have a genuine passion for sharing messages like these, because regardless of whether you want to work with me or not, these messages will be going in and they will be making a difference. And I think that imperfect action is better than no action at all. And so there we go, another golden nugget for today. I'm going to deliver to you. So thank you all for watching. I truly, truly appreciate it. If it's impacted you in some way today, it'd be really lovely to hear from you and let me know, because it makes my day to hear from you guys, just to see that it's helping. So love to all of you. Before I leave, I do have something to say. I am in the process of collecting applications for the Expert Unrivaled package. So if you do want one of those application forms, all you need to do is just send me a PM, and I'll send that over to you. Or if you're like, what the hell is this thing? It's my new 3-month program that I've got coming up to start next year. But I'm collecting applications forms for this week. to really go through those and see who's the best fit. So if you're interested in applying for one of those positions for next year, do just pop me a personal message and I will happily send you that application form to fill out and we can have a chat about it. Cool, that's me done. I love you loads and I will speak to you all tomorrow. Look at that, there you go. Committing to tomorrow, can't commit what time because it's all going on, but I will see you tomorrow. I will let you know if you're on Doris, my chatbot, she will let you know as soon as she can what time I'm going to be live. Loads of love, everybody, and I will speak to you all soon. Hopefully, a wee bit less croaky as well. Take care. Bye bye.